Pokemon Day 2025 is less than a week away, and I couldn't be more excited. The Pokemon Presents event is probably my favorite event in all of gaming, and today we're going to be discussing Pokemon Legends ZA specifically, and what I expect from this game in terms of graphics, story, replayability, after game. We're going to be discussing all that in this brief video, so share what you guys think in the comments down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you guys agree with my sentiments? And if you guys do enjoy, you already know what to do. Leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more Pokemon content like this. I'll be streaming the Pokemon Presents event, so if that interests you, make sure you guys subscribe because stay tuned. We're going to be discussing, and I love talking with the community. So you already know what to do, guys. Let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to start off by discussing is going to be the graphics. So I know with Pokemon, graphics has been a major point of contention, and with the Pokemon Mega Leak that happened towards the end of last year, one development was that we should expect this game to have similar graphics to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet rather than the previous Legends game, Legends Arceus. So truthfully, I really don't hate that idea as long as we begin to see an evolution of the Scarlet and Violet graphics. Like, to me, Scarlet and Violet graphically, it was more or less about the power of the Switch rather than the graphics itself and the art style. And it has its moments where it can look good, don't get me wrong, but the problem is we don't have a console powerful enough to fully push the envelope for these graphics, and the Pokemon company also themselves really haven't really shown the ineptitude to really push for high powered graphics. But I believe with this iteration we should see an advancement on what we've seen previously for Scarlet and Violet, so I'm really hoping that that will be the case. Now with Legends ZA, they need to optimize this game significantly. Like, I'm hoping that this game allows for better visuals to be more consistent throughout the game, since it's just going to be taking place in Lumio City. I believe that the environments can be better optimized as well. You know, just simply around traveling, we don't want to see frame drops. We don't want to see none of that. This game has been in development for, I mean, probably longer than we probably even know. And the fact that they haven't even shown gameplay for over a year lets us know that they're really working hard on this. And I truly respect that. You know, I like my Pokemon Directs in the summer and everything, but if they're going to be working on this game diligently, then we should really expect this to be of high quality. Now let's discuss gameplay. So with Pokemon Legends Arceus, we saw how they did the mechanics, how catching is a central mechanic of the game and completing the Pokédex. And truthfully, I don't imagine Pokemon straying too far away from that for this game, simply because Pokemon likes to stay with the status quo. So with Legends Arceus, that has its own specific type of play style, and I believe that's going to translate into Legends ZA, where again we're just capturing Pokemon, capturing the Pokédex. You know, this open zone area, although it's taking place in Lumio City, that is going to be primarily focused on those central mechanics. And now I personally don't think that's bad necessarily, but when it comes in terms of the longevity of the game, that's where Legends Arceus really struggled to keep my attention personally, because once I completed all the quests, once I captured all the Pokemon, once I captured Arceus, I felt like outside of shiny hunting, which I'm a major fan of doing, I felt like there was nothing really to keep you captivated in the game. And we're going to talk later on about replayability, but overall I think that there needs to be more battling. There needs to be more battling when it comes to Legends ZA, simply for the fact that battling is another core mechanic that I felt the Legends franchise has really kind of neglected, and no one wants to just be battling wild Pokemon every single day. So I think they need to think of a new way to, yes, you can keep the central catching, catching can be the primary focus of it all, but when it comes to replayability and the other main pillars of Pokemon, battling, I believe, cannot be neglected in the way that it was in the previous game. We can't do this video without discussing the Megas. So now this is what I want to leave up to speculation for you guys. So we currently have 48 Megas in total, which a few of them were added after Kalos. So we had, Pokemon Oras, which added, the rest of the starters and a few other Hoenn Pokemon. But guessing how, based off of how they did the Megas previously and how they've done other central mechanics, so like for example the Paradox Pokemon, we had 24 new Paradox Pokemon. There was a few new regional variations when it came to Paldea as well. You had the Paldea and Tauros and then Wooper, and Wiglet, those divergent evolutions. But when it comes to the Megas, I'm hoping that they at least add 20 new Megas, because if we think about it, the Kalos had the smallest regional dex out of all Pokemon games. So I think it was less than 80. I want to say like 74, but I'm pretty sure it was less than 80 new regional Pokemon for that dex. So they're gonna need to either what they're gonna actually need to do is increase the amount of forms for those Pokemon, because like there's not a lot of core Pokemon to even work with unless you want to continue to add more Pokemon, which, you know, they did in Legends Arceus. But I think with being so far removed from Kalos, we need to kind of have a little bit more emphasis on those Pokemon. Those Pokemon really haven't gotten a lot of love outside of literally their own game, and I believe we should be expecting around that much, 20 to 25-ish Mega Evolutions. I hope it's more, but we'll see. It's definitely something I can anticipate the Pokemon Company releasing Megas, kind of like how they did. If you were all the way back there in the X and Y hype days when they would just drop trailers for new Megas, I think that's probably the strategy that they're going to go with this go around again. And overall, Megas adds to just so much hype in the overall, you know, build up to the game. So I'm hoping that they do staggered releases, give us some big names, give us some, you know, excitement to bring us into the release of this game. So what can we expect from the story from this game? I personally think that a lot of scrapped ideas that they've had planned for Pokemon Legends, for Pokemon Z, if you guys remember, that wasn't fan fiction. It was actually being planned, but it just didn't happen for whatever reason. If you guys remember, also there was that gap between Pokemon X and Pokemon ORAS. I think it was about a year. That was like the first time they did a gap, excluding this year, in a while. But I believe we can expect a lot of those old ideas to be implemented into Legends ZA. Now, we probably don't know what they would be, but if you guys are familiar with Ultra Sun and Moon and Sun and Moon, a lot of the, not a lot, but like the Zygarde cores, that was remnant from Pokemon Z. And if you guys even go back to Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Diamond Pearl Platinum, the Arceus event was never released in Diamond Pearl Platinum, but when we got to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you guys remember we had the Sinjoh Ruins, and that was another piece of another element of lore that they added from the previous games into the new one. So I'm just really interested to see how they go about it this go around. And for me personally, anytime we have a Pokemon game, just as important as the main story is, the after game is even more relevant in my opinion, simply for the fact that I love to play Pokemon games, and I like when there's an extra added element of grinding, or there's an extra element of something that you can do continuously, whether it be battle towers, whether it be battle, you know, there's just so many things that Pokemon can do this go around. And personally, based off of my experience with Legends Arceus, I don't expect any groundbreaking after game features to be added to this game, which is kind of disappointing for me, because the problem with Legends Arceus, as good as a game that was, I've only played it once, and I've never, it's the only Pokemon game that I'm probably only going to play once, and that's it, simply for the fact that the replayability factor of it isn't really, I don't really enjoy replaying that game, simply because it's just catching Pokemon. Like, it was such a great first experience that hasn't been able to kind of, it can't be replicated. Like, you can play Emerald, and Emerald can be, it's just, I've played Emerald more than 20 times, it feels like, and it just feels like a game that you can constantly go back to. But Legends Arceus doesn't feel like you can just restart a fresh game and want to go back to it and complete it, because there's just no inherent kind of grind outside of catching Pokemon. And don't get me wrong, I love catching Pokemon, man. You guys see here, I'm trying to get all these Pokédexes complete so I can get these shiny Pokemon. I'm really close. So you can't say, if you go in the comments, oh, he doesn't like catching Pokemon. I really do, don't get me wrong. But outside of just catching the Pokemon, there needs to be more elements, because Pokemon catching, gotta catch them all, yeah, but that's not the main, there's like 3 pillars to it. There's battling, there's trading, there's catching. And there's catching, there's barely trading, and, well, we don't really care about trading anymore. It's 2025. You go on the GTS. I'm literally getting these Pokemon just by going through them. But I believe battling is what's really neglected in this series, and I think that if they really want to elevate this game to be something better than the previous one in the series, they need to incorporate more battling. And me personally, I've only have like, I think I have less than 70 hours in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that's probably one of the games I enjoyed the most through an initial playthrough. But compared to Scarlet and Violet, compared to Sword and Shield, and even BDSP, I have so much more hours in those games just because there's just so much more to do and complete. And truthfully, I would rather seen a true remake of X and Y, because I enjoy the competitive aspect of Pokemon, and Pokemon Legends neglects true battle experiences. Like I said, I really enjoy catching Pokemon, and I love competing in the decks, and I've done it in every Switch game so far, as you guys can see. But in my opinion, catching Pokemon is what makes Pokemon great. But also, it's also the other half of that is battling, and battling is another aspect that I think really continues to be neglected in this Legends series. But I expect Pokemon to do something better this go around. But that's what I think we can expect from Legends ZA. What do you guys think in the comments down below? Am I being too pessimistic with this approach and my thoughts about how this game is going to be and how this game is going to go? I just think Pokemon likes to stick to their core ideas, and since Legends is still very brand new, I think they're just going to try to keep that same idea and maybe add little things to it, but I don't think they're going to revolutionize an idea that's just really less than 5 years old at this point. So I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Please make sure you guys leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more content like this. You know we talk Pokemon here all the time, baby, whether it's TCGP or the main series games. Well, that's the only two things I'm talking about. I don't care about nothing else, to be honest. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm going to be streaming the presents. I'm gonna, put it up so you guys can see it, and hopefully you guys join in, because the Pokemon Presents is one of my favorite events of the year for video games, so I'm really looking forward to it. But if you guys are feeling the same way, like I said, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.